This is how I always wanted the Shadow Show to start, with him not being aware of it, people being like confused in here because we're doing other things. Greg Cody's been wrestling his headset for a full 4 minutes. Zaslo's been laughing in his face. Zaslow, is Don Bailey Jr. a local South Florida sports legend?
Yes.
Chris Cody didn't know who he was.
That was embarrassing.
That's not knowing who he was is putting it incorrectly.
You said Zagacki and his partner.
I was like the guy that does games. Yes, I drew a blank. I knew DBJ. I forgot Don Bailey. Yes, I don't listen to a lot of broadcasts of Miami Hurricane games. I watch them on TV. I'm sorry.
You don't sound sorry. You sound defensive and defiant, and I do remember you not knowing who he was. Like, you're now softening it because of your shame. This happens around here with multiple Codys. Instead of sinking into the truth and the joke, they get defensive and start fighting, and next thing you know, Jeremy, he knew all along that it was Jeremy's brother. And you're not unlike your father here. Like, you're going to develop some of the things. You did not know who Don Bailey Jr. was, and it is embarrassing.
I know who Don Bailey is.
You know Don Bailey Sr. more than Don Bailey Jr.,
No,
right?
Junior I know.
You know about those rugs?
I do. Are you kidding? I'd like to pose for one of those. Are you kidding me?
Let's do that before the show is over.
Hey, that's something that could
I'm kidding.
happen.
No. In fact, we can go make
Dumbest things you could have said.
Why don't before the show's over, all of you help me have as the punctuation on the show today.
You met Dan?
Greg Cody doing show on his side on what appears to be a bearskin rug, and I always thought that Don Bailey Sr. was nude because I
Underwear.
He's wearing underwear the color of the rug, but
Very masculine looking.
Yeah, and I don't think it was a bearskin. I think you might be conflating the Burt Reynolds photo.
Thank you. It's not
There it
bearskin,
is.
but I for the audience. And
Shadow Show.
I can see where you think that's nude.
Yeah.
I did think it was nude throughout. Like, that's been up for I don't know how long. In fact, can you please look that up for me? I'm sure you
My
can
whole
find-
life.
My
3
whole
generations.
life, I feel like I have seen that.
The
To me-
sign for those, this is just audio only.
Well, it's the YouTube audience is seeing this. I
No,
believe.
that's a Shadow Show.
No, I think they are seeing
We
this.
did this for them?
I think we
Okay,
did it
broke
just for them.
Okay.
I think we broke character for a moment to give them the Don
at
Bailey
us.
Jr. And the reason I said the bearskin rug and Burt Reynolds, they can find that too, is to conjure for the audio audience the amount of sensuality that Don Bailey Sr. is trying to give
Very
off with his
masculine.
nudity here.
He just passed away December 21st, 2025, I'm being told.
I think not too long ago, Don
93 years old.
Don
R.I.P.
Bailey Sr., I think maybe for his 90th birthday, tried to recreate that photo. And it was great.
We should do it as homage to him. Before the end of the show today, I want Greg Cody giving takes from a bearskin, the equivalent
suggestion,
of a
Greg.
bearskin rug.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen, Dan.
I believe it is.
Yeah, we'll see.
Basketball is back, Jack. Time for our favorite winter sport. The summertime is over, so let's head down to the court. Time for the tip-off. Give me fast breaks on the attack. Will you shoot a three or take it to the rack? Basketball is back, Jack. It's a dream shake down in the post, or a killer cross you love the most. When the offense tries to run and gun, is it man to man or box and one? It's big plays and talking smack. That's how you know that basketball is back, Jack. Let me hear you say basketball, basketball, basketball. Basketball is back, Jack. 360 dunks and pick and rolls. And we're gonna watch it every day till they raise the Larry O. Hard fouls and hook shots. A dagger three and hack a shack. If you say this game's the best, I'll say Zagak. Basketball is back, Jack. Basketball is back, Jack. Basketball is back. Basketball is back, Jack.
Oye, Pablito, what's good, bro?
Mira que yo resuelvo.
How Cuban are you, okay?
Aquí vamos a ver de verdad quién es el cubano arrepentido.
Billy Corbin.
¿Qué ponen ahí en ese aluminum tin?
De pingao.
Cortaditos.
Cookies, always cookies.
Dale.
Yo estoy en la ducha, estoy en la casa. I haven't even left yet.
Dale, mi hermano. Ahí estamos.
They're 2 coladas.
I don't know what talco is.
Oh, Jesus.
He's a guy who is blank. Prick.
Mira, una colada que compré aquí.
Por tu madre.
I imagine it would be like, yo mama, por tu madre.
Compota, is that like the raspberry compote they do on Great British Baking Show?
Saludos.
That's great to hear.
¿Cómo sentimos de los huracanes? Oye, los huracanes.
La Universidad de Miami y los huracanes viven en el corazón de nuestra familia. How'd I do?
Guess where we're doing the party? We're doing it at Bird Bowl.
Is talco and baby powder the same thing?
Yes, you doofus.
All right.
What kind of Cuban are you?
I love you, Miami.
Basketball is back? Better be talking about Jay Lucas. I'm telling you right now, basketball is far from being back. Although I do have an eye on the Ja Morant situation and the Giannis situation.
Hey now.
We'll get to all of those things. At some point, I suppose we'll get to the University of Miami being a tournament team, because they are. They've only lost twice. But football is everything that has been consuming us around here. And I want to start with Mike Tomlin for this reason. Back when this show was starting, and this isn't really journalism, but it was kind of journalism, there were things happening around the Dolphins that were chaotic and funny. And one of them was that a person named Joe Bailey was hired to find a new CEO for the
I
Dolphins.
love this story so much.
It's
I'm
so
glad we're
good.
starting with
well,
this.
but because to watch
I
what's
love
happened
this.
the last 20 years has been unbelievably funny if you're not a Dolphins fan. They were thinking about hiring a CEO, and so they hired somebody to go hire that CEO, and he did a worldwide global search.
It was like a search firm.
Yeah, and the head of that search firm did a worldwide global search and found the best candidate in the mirror of his bathroom. He appointed himself the CEO. I can do this job. And then when it came time to hire a coach, Mike Tomlin was available to him, and that person was overheard by employees at our station saying that Mike Tomlin was too hip-hop to be hired by the Miami Dolphins. Now, never mind that Mike Tomlin is the opposite of hip-hop.
They went with Cam Cameron, by the way.
Yeah.
who is also the opposite of hip-hop.
Like, if I may, because this story about Mike Tomlin being so hip-hop, like, no one knows the origin of it. I've heard everyone. Like, I'm the guy. Like, I asked, like, we were talking. I was producing the Dolphin Hour.
It's a great scoop.
Or interning at the time. Just so, like, you want some credibility behind it. The conversation went as such. I was talking to Joe Bailey, and Jimmy Cephalo was there.
Oh, yeah.
And
this sounds like it happens to know.
This was, but like I've heard it for 20 years, and like everyone's like, "Oh, is that true?" Let me stack my credibility against it. Yes, it is. We were talking about the Dolphins head coaching search. I volunteered, as any 19-year-old intern would at the time. I'd wait for people to stop talking and offer up my own opinion. I like Mike Tomlin.
You did that back then.
Back
right?
then too.
Back then, but back then too. You don't do
back
that
then
anymore.
Too. Back then too.
You were doing the Mike Ryan show for them.
Back
Stop
then.
talking since.
Yeah. But I said I like Mike Tomlin. I nailed that one, by the way. And Jimmy Cephalo goes, "Joe, you met with Mike, right? What'd you think?" And he kind of pshawed to hip-hop. So that's how that story went. It's 100% true.
And this is in front of you.
And Brandon Guzia.
Can you imagine the balls on Joe Bailey to say something like that in front of two kids?
Well, do you imagine the balls on Joe Bailey doing a worldwide global search and finding the best applicant in his bathroom mirror? Because that, to me, is the audacity of what happened there. But in the 20 years since, like, to see what's happened in the 20 years since, can Jeremy please find for me the list of Dolphin coaches, the number of Dolphin coaches that they've had since then. But the extraordinary circumstance of the following, which is, after being proclaimed to hip-hop 19 years ago as a young man, Mike Tomlin, since then, no matter his team, has had a winning season every year since. That is almost a statistical impossibility. Do you know how hard it would have been to get good odds on that? 19 years ago, will this person who's too hip-hop for the Miami Dolphins, according to their search firm head who appointed himself the CEO, will have a winning season every season since, so that yesterday, after 8 straight seasons of not winning a playoff game, he steps down and people are surprised and eulogizing him because they are indeed amazed. Well, the Steelers have had only 3 coaches, and this one is stepping down after 19 years. We all understand you got to win playoff games in 8 years. But what is I think Zaz might be able to do this off the top of his head. Dolphin coaches for the last 19 years, since the Dolphins thought that Mike Tomlin was too hip-hop. Let's get Zaslow to try and see if he can get all the interim coaches here, too. All the names since Mike Tomlin was not hired by the Miami Dolphins. But to have that put against the Dolphins never winning also in those 20 years and having this assortment of leadership changes while the Steelers had only Shula in charge for 19 years. They basically put Shula for 19 years. They got a chance to hire another Shula. I want to get Greg Cody's thoughts on hiring Chris Shula because to me, there's no better candidate than that. That's the best candidate there is for the Miami Dolphins job, I think. And it's not just the name. It's go get me one of the McVay guys who's going to do things smartly and differently and youngly. But give me your list, Zaslow.
Yeah.
See how close you can come.
I'm pretty sure I could do it. Cam Cameron, then you had Tony Sperano, Dan Campbell, interim coach.
You're skipping a different interim coach and different head coach.
Jim Bates? Oh, Todd Bowles.
Todd Bowles is the interim coach.
Yeah, Jim Bates was one set. Todd Bowles, all right, Sperano, Dan Campbell, Adam Gase.
is
Joe
in
Philbin.
there. Philbin was before.
Brian Flores. And here we are, Mike McDaniel.
I think you're going
right. So you went
missing
Cam Cameron.
any interim coaches?
It's Cam Cameron, Tony Sperano. Sperano's interim coach when he was fired midseason was Todd Bowles in 2011. He had 3.5 years of Joe Philbin. His interim coach was Dan Campbell in 2015. Then Adam Gase for 3 years, Brian Flores for 3 years, and Mike McDaniel for 4.
And one thing all of those coaches have in common is that none of them had been an NFL head coach before. And that's the only thing that concerns me about them hiring Chris Shula, is that I think there's a segment of the Dolphins who finally want experience.
Oh, I
in
don't
that
care.
Seat.
McDonald wasn't a head coach.
Well, it doesn't matter that you don't care.
McVay wasn't a head coach. No, but that's not how we're doing it anymore, Greg. That's just not how we're doing it
I'm
anymore.
telling you, that's part of the thinking.
If you look at
within
the
Dolphins.
playoff teams, though, there are like Sean Payton went somewhere and turned it around. Like there are examples of both. I don't think there's a right way to do it. You can get a young guy.
There is a right way to do it if you don't have a quarterback, and it's build with someone with stability you don't have a quarterback. Tomlin wouldn't help them this year. Tomlin's tried for 8 years to win without a quarterback. That's how it goes. Like, don't Tomlin, don't Harbaugh. Those guys can't fix it. They win you the press conference in the offseason. Get me somebody who I could tie to a quarterback so I could build the architecture for the future.
I'm not sure that's how it goes. He's still making the playoffs without a quarterback. Usually you suck.
I'm saying it's not good enough. Ultimately, at the end, Pittsburgh fans are fed up with Tomlin, even though I don't believe that they should be, because he has gotten the ceiling from that team. That's the best you can do with Mason Rudolph playing games for you all the time.
Right. Well, Chris Shula obviously is the opposite of a quarterback whisperer. I mean, if you're thinking quarterback first, I'm not sure you hire a defensive coach. But, no, I'm not anti-Chris Shula at all. I think he'd be a good hire, but I'm not one of these people who says, oh, you got to go get Chris Shula, he's going to be great. We don't know that. We don't know that he's a head coach. We still don't know that Mike McDaniel is a head coach. He's an offensive coordinator. Is Chris Shula going to make a great head coach? A lot of people seem to think yes, and I'd love to think yes, but nobody knows right now.
I think when you don't have a quarterback, or if you have a first-year quarterback, I think hiring a defensive head coach is a mistake. I think it's a mistake because eventually, okay, so hire a great offensive coordinator. All right, good. And then that guy inevitably leaves because he's a really good offensive coordinator, and now you're changing the offense with the young quarterback. Like, if you don't have a quarterback or if you're drafting a rookie quarterback, I think you need an offensive head coach because there's no threat of him leaving.
But I don't know if they're going to have a quarterback. And when Greg Cody says I don't know, we could literally almost apply that to anybody. Because if I put Tomlin in here or Harbaugh in here right now, we also don't know. Like, we don't know anything about what that person can actually build because they don't have a quarterback.
But except that we've seen 20 years of their work. There's a track record that there isn't for a Chris Shula or anybody else who hasn't been a head coach.
I've seen 20 years of his work in a place where he has organizational stability and support all around him. That does not mean he can take it and just pick up and leave and take it with him. I think that stays there. The Steelers have had the 3 coaches in all of their existence. I can see Tomlin bouncing around from here. I can see this next job not working and then him getting a 3rd job because I'm telling you, we give these guys too much credit on leadership when what they inherit is very often something that is so sprawling, especially when you're leaving a place you've been for 20 years that has function and you're going to a place of dysfunction, that they get there and they're like, what the bleep is this? My attention to detail doesn't work here. Who are these people? What's wrong with them?
Yeah. I do think somebody out there loves Quinn Ewers as an option. McDaniel did. That's why he gave him 3 games to prove himself late in the season.
Oh, you think he did that because he loves Ewers?
I think he did that because he was desperate and wanted to see if the guy. Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure.
He did that because Tua couldn't get hurt as an injury risk in the salary. There was no reason to play Tua whatsoever, so they went to the next guy. It could have been anyone in the world. They could have signed Cleo Lemon again. Like it could have been anybody in the world playing quarterback for them. It would not have mattered. They just needed – Tua was going to sit no matter what. It wasn't about enthusiasm about the future. But I want to get into, with Cody, some of the details that I gave you earlier this week because I don't know the right way to fire someone, but I know that this is the wrong way. And the way that it happened with the Dolphins, Mike McDaniel is conducting his exit meetings. He's in the middle of a day full of these. He's got a lot of players that he's sort of explaining what next season's going to look like, how they did this season, whether they're going to be here, what he wants from them. So he's behaving as if he's still got a job. Stephen Ross walks into the room, and it's described as kicking down the door. Like there was not an announcement, an appointment. There was no warning of this. And the player is sitting there looking at the middle of his exit meeting. It's what's happening here. And McDaniel finally, we'll pick this up later. Like, they're middle managers, okay? We forget this all the time. Look at how Bisciotti behaved yesterday as the Ravens owner and remind yourself that the owners are the one in charge and all these people that we spend all this time talking about on television, all middle managers, all of them. McDaniel's like, oh, okay, I guess this meeting, we'll pick this up later. And then he was fired. That's where and how he was fired. Didn't know he was going to be fired. That's the end of the exit meetings. What are your thoughts on what happened there, how it happened?
Where do I start? The owner totally misplayed this. It was an act of indecision by Stephen Ross. You know, Black Monday is when you fire the coaches. That happened to 5 or 6 other guys on Monday. And McDaniel on Monday is having a press conference saying, I'm not only still here, but I'm going to be in on the general manager hire. Okay, so at that point, Thursday, 3 days later, you assume McDaniel's getting 1 more year, which I think had been the assumption all along, especially since they fired Chris Greer and then finished the season 5-3. So this is a flip-flop on Stephen Ross. Nobody knows exactly what the change of heart was.
Well, let me ask you something there. Is it a flip-flop on Stephen Ross, or had they decided within their GM interviews over those days they really like this John Eric Sullivan, and John Eric Sullivan does not believe that McDaniel's the right coach?
It's possible. Yeah, that's possible. But, you know, did they have any interest in Harbaugh? If they did, then you don't want to hire a GM before you hire Harbaugh because Harbaugh wants to have his say in the GM. So that's going to all come out. To me, Harbaugh is still the king of the available coaches. I know some disagree. If I have a chance to get John Harbaugh, I'm going to hire him. Apparently the Dolphins felt differently, and now let's see the way they go.
What are your thoughts? Because everyone here was eager to hear your Dolphin thoughts, and we haven't gotten to enough of them. You are a Dolphin apologist, Dolphin homer, the author of
historian.
Dolphin historian as well, the author of a Dolphins book.
Fins at 50.
Your thoughts on their management structure and the argument that Mike Ryan and I have been having for about 10 years. I believe Stephen Ross is the worst owner in the history of this town.
Right.
even though he's done some good things that don't have anything to do with football.
Stephen Ross has been great at development, at building around the stadium, at bringing in F1, at bringing in tennis, at doing all these other ancillary things. The only thing he hasn't done is put a winning team in his stadium, the stadium that Joe Robbie built, by the way. I always like to remind people that, which is why we're getting the World Cup, because Joe Robbie had the foresight generations ago.
The stupidity bankrupted his family.
It did, but it was good for
good foresight. Though.
It was good for
reminder.
the town.
Good
it
foresight.
was good for the town. Joe Robbie did what no other owner has the balls to do, which is build his
Go
own
bankrupt.
Stadium. Okay. Well, you can put a bad slant on Joe Robbie if you want.
I'm not putting it on
Thank
Joe Robbie.
you, Joe.
I'm not.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Joe.
I'm not putting a bad slant on Joe Robbie. I'm
By
saying
he bankrupted his family. It sounds like you're putting a bad slant on
And
him.
the way
It's a
that you said
fact.
it, I don't know. It's just if that's how the way you talk.
Doesn't
but
seem like you're building up the family at the moment.
No, not at all.
I'd love for rich people to go bankrupt on my behalf.
it's a fact. Zaslow wants $50 million a year for Harbaugh.
No, I don't want that. I'm saying if Stephen Ross wants that, he can do it.
I think they should have gone after Harbaugh. The timing was right. Now, whether Harbaugh wants them, he's vetting teams. Teams aren't vetting him. And quite frankly, unless he's enamored of Quinn Ewers, there's no way he's going anywhere near the Dolphins.
Can you imagine coaching Lamar Jackson and then being enamored with Quinn Ewers?
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Can you imagine coaching Lamar Jackson and then being enamored of Quinn Ewers?
A theory that I like about John Harbaugh was, he was going to take a week to himself and be with family before he started accepting any phone calls. I think he was just waiting to see the result of the Bills game.
It is funny. Let's get the Bishotti sound. This person, we hear from him, I don't know, every 10 years. He comes out in what can only be described as a mafioso suit every time. I don't know who his tailor is, but it is clearly someone who tailors gangsters.
I've come around on this guy. I like him. I think it's the shoulder pads or the fact that he looks like he'd pay a couple $50,000 to watch them have sex.
So here is here is Bishotti, and last time I think we saw him was just how casual he was in front of microphones during the Ray Rice scandal. Like, yeah, whatever's happening down here. I know you guys are all troubled by it, but I'm above all of this. I've got a lot of money, and my suits are tailored by somebody who's a mafioso. Here's Bishotti talking about how much longer Harbaugh would have lasted. He's actually reacting to the Tomlin news and saying how much longer Harbaugh would have lasted if Loop had made a 44-yard field goal.
If Tyler Loop makes that field goal, is John Harbaugh still here coaching this team?
For a week.
Wow, I'm back.
It's very disrespectful, Harbaugh. It really is.
It is.
It
It
no,
totally
it's,
is.
I love how it just undercuts every talking head topic du jour talking point from the last week. If he makes a field goal, Tomlin's the guy that's up. Nope.
I know we talk about them a lot, the coaches. We care about the coaches. These guys view those guys as meathead middle managers. Like, we're the money, we're the power. You win for me, I'll get someone else who wins for me. Here he is talking in general just about the Tomlin firing.
At Pittsburgh.
He did? Is it official?
That's what I keep hearing. So, is he a candidate here?
Oh, Mike, wouldn't that be awesome?
His teeth.
Only if John takes the Pittsburgh job.
Funny.
Wow. Wouldn't that be interesting? I don't know. That thing last week maybe disqualified him for my opening after our kicker missed a kick.
Oh, he's pounding his chest like King Kong. Did Mike Tomlin do that after they won?
After that win, he kind of looked at the camera and was like,
I just like that he admitted he's into swapping.
He does look the way that you say he looks. He looks leathery.
He does.
He looks like a great deal of success. But again, when I tell you guys, I actually learned this at ESPN, the gulf of difference between who's in charge, the number one skipper, and the number two. How about Biscotti just looking around the room? Is he a candidate for us? Yeah.
Is it Biscotti or Bishotti?
Whatever.
Did you make him an airplane cookie?
I did, because I'm always thinking like my dad about cookies.
I always go for that cookie first.
It's
It's
a
like
great
Cheez-It, or it's Sun Chips, or it's the pretzels, or those cookies. I always go with those cookies.
But if they're the garden salsa Sun
It's
chips?
always the garden salsa.
I like the garden salsa.
I do too, but I like the sometimes
That's good stuff.
Sometimes I have the balls enough to say, can I have the cookies and the sun chips?
Yeah, can we put up the telestrator real quick, because there's a still image of Bisciotti, and Secret to Aging, he's looked like that for 20 years. It seems like there's a G&T in his hand. If not, there should be.
You know what? Thank you for doing that, because I every once in a while will be watching like just old comedy roasts, and Dean Martin was drunk across 2 decades on television doing all of his performances
and smoking cigarettes during his act.
Yes, and he always had a drink in his hand. I seem to recall that when he was talking about the Ray Rice stuff, Biscotti was also holding a water that he drinks smugly.
It's a cigarette that I drew. I don't know.
Yeah. Thank you for explaining that.
All right, let's see if you have the restraint to not draw a penis.
Put a little smoke thing at the end of the cigarette. Just
That could look like something else.
Spell out pee-pee.
Greg, the Dolphins, when you see Harbaugh is vetting teams, they're not vetting Harbaugh, and he's not even making a phone call. Like, he's doing phone interviews and Zooms with others, is not doing anything with the Dolphins. What gives you the confidence in anything that you've seen publicly or even reported by people reporting things that the Dolphins don't want in public that suggests to you that they know what they're doing here?
First, Diana Rossini said yesterday on this show that the Dolphins have been in touch with Harbaugh, which I believe. I believe Diana Rossini when she says that.
But that he hasn't talked to them. He doesn't
Right.
want to talk to them. It's being reported that it doesn't seem like there's much interest there.
No, because when they hired a new GM, they eliminated themselves from Harbaugh. Do I trust anything the Dolphins do at this point? No, I don't. I agreed with them firing, and they can say he stepped down, whatever. They fired Chris Greer at midseason. I totally agreed with that. For 15 years, he had failed at his job. McDaniel, you could have made an argument he had earned one more season. Let's see who replaces McDaniel.
No evidence that they know what they're doing. You have not.
Right.
Have you seen a fact, a reported detail, anything that suggests to you, okay, they know what they're doing?
Okay, the GM hire has a track record with Green Bay. He doesn't have a ton of experience.
He looks the part, though.
At being a GM.
Yeah,
but
I'm a little confused. They were pretty decisive on the GM.
Yeah.
And I know
Well, if you allow for the fact that Chris Greer was in a job failing more than any other GM ever has, they eventually got to decisive. Yes, but he had the job and stability longer than anyone with that failure resume has ever had that job.
Right. So let's see
they,
who
they
he
moved
picks for a
on one.
coach.
They moved on one pretty quickly, and everyone seems to think this person's fine. I know the McDaniel thing could have been handled a little bit better, but look, I understand we have a differing opinion on
Why
Stephen
could
Ross.
the McDaniel thing have been handled? What did they do wrong with McDaniel?
They just waited a little bit.
They waited 3 days.
They're
They
saying-
gathered as much information as possible, then made a decision.
Putting
He was
the
just
putting
coach
it,
for 4 years.
putting him out there on Monday to do that press conference where he says I'm going to be part of the search, and firing him 3 days later just seems like you're not really. You don't know. You're flying by the seat of your pants.
Yeah, that's a little sloppy.
Yeah, that was sloppy, but I think if I could piece what happened together is every single one of their GM candidates were asked, like, what would you do here? And they were all
That'd
like,
be
well,
my guess.
we'd blow out the head coach.
And Harbaugh became available in those couple days.
Yeah, but I honestly think it has more to do with maybe the information that popped up when they were interviewing all their candidates, and their recommendation was move on from Mike McDaniel.
Yeah.
I just saw Tony pop up, and Tony is a hustler, and Tony is trying to do something here. We are the Cuban epicenter of sports in Cuban sports history in America, because it's Mendoza against Cristobal in Que Bowl A. And Tony has gone to Columbus, which I can't believe.
He's outside of Columbus at the moment.
Well, he's trying to get to Columbus, and Mike and everyone here tells me that I don't understand what a bubble I live in, and how much Miami hates me, and how much Cuban Miami hates me, and how much Columbus hates me, and he doesn't think well, Tony is always confident, but everyone here thinks Tony can't get into Columbus because if you're not familiar with Columbus, its facility, it's a college facility. Like, they've got a lot of money, and when you go into Columbus to train, you're like, holy shit, this is not like anything else in Miami. All the Cuban money is in these facilities where they're very good at sports, and they've made it important to be good at sports, and it's not welcoming to me as somebody who is El Gusano in Miami. So, Tony, you're confident you can get in there because you're confident about everything, but nobody here is confident you can get in there.
Yeah, correct, Dan. Hello. As you can see, I'm sitting right now on the one concrete block in a median on 87th Ave and 32nd Street, right between three different schools. I got Banyan Elementary to my left, I got Christopher Columbus High School behind me, and I've got St. Brendan right down the road, which is literally right there next to Columbus. So right now we're standing in front of the Fernando Mendoza Class of 22 Heisman winner sign, which is what I wanted to get you here. It's a bit of a fortress. Columbus is a bit of a fortress. There's a lot of people on golf carts driving around. There's a lot of people watching and looking and kind of pointing and seeing what you're doing. So I've made a couple calls. I've made some contact with a couple of different people. I'm certain we're going to be able to get in later on. And maybe have some surprises along the way.
You're certain?
I've already made the calls.
You're certain you're going to get in there. No one here believes that. No one
always knows a guy.
Yeah, but you were certain that Davis Mills was going to be a champion quarterback.
Hey, he's still alive in the playoffs.
Whoa. First off, did not say champion quarterback. Said there's something there. And by the way, he kept them afloat. By the way, did you know the Texans won like 8 or 9 straight games or 10 straight games? Yeah. Who was in there? Davis Mills. Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't think this is the way to get in there, but I really would like to sort of write the word Cristobal on the top of the F in Fernando. Just to
Stop stirring shit, dude.
Just to,
we're moving mountains here to make this happen for you.
Oh,
you want me to start burning?
Stop sounding so put out by it. Like it's worked for us for 21 years. Sorry.
No, it hasn't.
We haven't moved the mountains.
No, you don't get everything
We got the
you
most
want.
Cuban game ever played in our town, and the mountains haven't been successfully moved.
It's working out for me, even though the head coach won't come on our show.
Maybe a couple of hills.
It is working out for us spectacularly. Are you not seeing
I
how
love the cars just going by.
It is.
behind
It's good. It's good. It's good
Sean,
audio.
stand over here. I'm literally standing on the median. Like this is where I'm
dangerous.
Next to a light pole. Like I'm actually on the median right now. Let's see what we have here.
All right.
Speeding fines doubled, by the way. I'm keeping an eye out here.
All right, we will check in with you later here. Do you have anything else you want to tell the people about Columbus, though? Because it's my understanding that all, ESPN especially, but that all the major media entities that are trying to tell the stories of this game are going or trying to go to that school because a Miami school has never been in the position it is for this game.
Yeah, so I've already had word from my contacts here at Columbus saying that CNN is going to be here today. So I'm trying to finagle, trying to Cuban Miami my way into. Oh yeah, we're with CNN. We're here DLS.
We go first,
right
then CNN. All right,
so,
tell them that.
Maybe I'll try, but my contact said that we may have some surprises along the way.
You don't try, you do.
But thank you, exactly right. Just do it. So. Really? Interesting. So there's a fortress here. We're trying to break in. We're trying to get in. I've already made contact.
Don't try.
They told me it's certain. Que ya es cierto. Okay?
Greg,
100%.
Jesus Christ, Greg. Like,
what just happened there?
Greg, you're doing a show with us.
Today.
You're on air doing a show with us. You're not just talking to Tony or your son.
Me cago tu madre, Greg.
Gracias, tío.
Tony, thank you. We'll check in with you later in the show. I won't remind anyone that you said Will Levis was going to be Dan Marino. See you later.
No. I said if you squint.
Bye, Tony.
He
Fade
had some
him down.
plays that looked
That'll be
like
enough.
Marino.
Bye, Tony.
We don't need him to defend his position. there.
Speaking of people who should be faded down, let's go to Jeremy Taché here in a moment because Jeremy Taché came in here swaggering today, and he thinks everyone here is really dumb. So we go now to Jeremy Taché. Jeremy, why do you think that everyone here is really dumb?
Well, Zaz and Dan, I mean, you guys are fools. Like, how stupid do you feel after watching Bam Adebayo drop 29, 9, and 4 on the Suns last night, a really good team, right after you said he should be traded? Hey, Dan, remember when you said Bam should stop shooting threes?
I know.
And then he hit 2 threes right in your face
How
to
many
take
did he
the
hit last
lead.
night? 5? Did he hit 5
He
last
went
night?
4 of 6 from 3 last night.
And one of
He
them,
shot
one of them we
67%.
thought was a 3 in the fourth quarter. His toe was on the line.
Oh, yeah, it would
so
have been
kind of hit 5.
It would have been 5 of 7. I mean, he's spectacular. Like, to watch that guy have the type of game that he did defensively to anchor that team against a team in the Suns, again, that's been really good. That's 8 games over 500 in the Western Conference. To watch a guy like that, and then to watch you guys trade the man who is now second in Heat franchise history in scoring.
Okay.
His value will never be higher. That's the best he's ever shot.
Zaz, you still trading him?
Okay.
I cannot believe your dumbass would trade Bam Adebayo.
Okay.
A player who has been nothing but spectacular for this organization the entire time he's been here.
Mita, here's what I said yesterday. I would trade Bam, not because I don't like him, not because I don't want him on the team. I do want him on the team. In theory, I don't want to trade Bam Adebayo. But I don't believe, based on all the information we have in Bam's career, I don't believe you can build a championship team when Bam's salary goes up to $50 million next season. I don't believe it's possible. I don't believe he's a good enough player. And I think he's a player you could win with, but not at $50 million. So, it's not like with Tua. I don't think you could win at Tua. I don't care if they're paying him $1. I think you could win with Bam, but not at $50 million against the salary cap.
They're not going to win. The Heat are not going to win a championship with the core of Bam, Tyler Hero, and Norman Powell. It's just not going to happen. Now, trade Bam for Giannis. There. I'm suggesting
Okay, we'll get to that stuff in a second because Giannis booed his own booing fans last night.
Great.
And Rachel Nichols is reporting that Ja Morant wants to be in Miami. That is his preferred destination. But can you tell me, Jeremy, that game last night was a lot of fun.
It's awesome.
Put it on the poll. Should it be illegal to have Dylan Brooks and Grayson Allen on the same basketball team? Dylan Brooks lost the game with his silliness, and he was super annoying. And you'll have to give me some historical context. I have not seen Norman Powell that mad. Norman Powell does not, he kind of strikes me as maximum professional guy, and he's just out there to really grind through his job. So when you've annoyed Norman Powell enough that he wants to fight you, you're being particularly annoying. How rare is it for Norman Powell to react that way to somebody?
I have never seen Norman Powell react that way to anybody. He is one of the most professional people I've ever been around in sports.
Okay, you've been working for 6 minutes. You're covered in embryonic fluid.
I'm sorry. I'm holding 2 Emmys right now. You want me to get here? Hold on.
Yeah, congrats on that Emmy.
Here's my 3rd Emmy, Dan. You have any Emmys?
And again, look at that shirt.
You have any Emmys?
I do not. I don't respect television. Nick Wright is next.
There's a reason they call me Jeremy.
I'll give you 45 seconds on the Marlins before we get to Nick Wright as a reward for being right just yesterday and only yesterday about your Miami Heat.
First of all, I'm right every day about the Miami Heat. Second of all, Ryan Weathers and Edward Cabrera have been traded away from the Miami Marlins. They were 2 pieces of the Marlins rotation. Now, Ryan Weathers barely pitched last year, so they just traded him to the Yankees for 4 prospects. They acquired Dylan Lewis, who's a high-upside center fielder, and they acquired 3 other prospects. The reason they got those prospects in particular is because they really fell in love with the value that they could get there, because those are the guys they were discussing in the Edward Cabrera trade. Edward Cabrera just had a career year, a guy that you couldn't really rely on up until this past season. The Marlins pitching staff and their new throw nasty strikes mentality really unlocked something in Edward Cabrera. So they feel like they're selling high on him. They acquire Owen Casey, who was the best prospect that was traded this offseason. A left-handed hitting outfielder with a lot of power, a lot of potential. He was just blocked in Chicago, but they called him up late in the year. He's a dude who has raked in AAA. So with him, they acquired a major league ready bat who's going to contribute this year. They acquired 6 other offensive prospects to be able to really continue to stack their farm system. And this is what you're going to see from the Marlins. They're going to find value where it's necessary.
All right, that'll do.
So
That's enough, man. I said 45 seconds. I thought we were going to have a timer. I thought that we had a whole thing that we were going to do, and instead it's just him yammering.
Talk Marlins before Canes? What the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, a little weird right there. Yeah, that's crazy.
Mike Ryan, you're being someone who is getting, and it's only Wednesday, your levels of agitation, of emotion. You're coming in here every day, ripping Alabama's quarterback. You're ripping. You're finding ways to be more and more emotional. And we're still 4 days out. I don't think you're 4 games. No, it's more than 4 days. It's.
I think I've been chill.
Friday,
5 days.
Saturday,
I think I've been chill.
Sunday, Monday 5.
I reject the way that you're framing me for the audience.
You're not emotional?
No, I think I've been great this entire run. I could be shoving it up everybody's ass. I haven't done that yet.
You haven't?
Not yet.
You demanded apologies from both me and Zaslow on Monday, and you said, fuck Billy Corbin.
Appropriately.
That was a very popular stance.
It really was.
The
He was
comments
thinking for America.
The
right
comments on Twitter,
Yeah.
which can be nasty, seem to
Okay.
agree.
Okay, well, we should all follow that. That's it. Should be a life principle to follow the comments on, on
No,
Twitter.
I think you're framing me in an incorrect fashion. I'm sitting pretty. What's up?
We'll get to you in a second, but we've got Nick Wright waiting. So let's talk. Man, there's a lot going on in sports, and Nick Wright has a lot of opinions. So let's speed him up and get as much sports information as we can from Nick Wright. He's next.
Coming up on today's episode of the Alley Oop, Dennis Schroeder may have put the pause on my boy Luka Vandross.
And y'all gotta tap in and let us know, chat. What do you think about this very interesting stare down between Julius Randle and Victor Wembanyama?
Lock in.
Michael and I had a relationship where he basically did all the talking. He would call the majority of the time to ask me did I watch him.
It was I who won MVP of that game because I wanted to make sure they knew. And we ended that game with me catching that game-winning touchdown.
And he would give me a couple of pointers. One game he called me. I thought he was calling me to say, you know, hey, you enjoy watching me play, but he actually asked me, did you see how I dogged out Darryl Green today? I was like, yeah, Mike. He said, yeah. I put this big, fine body on him. He couldn't get around me. I was like, yeah, well, you know.
That Florida State game, when I caught that football and ran down the sideline and thinking to myself, this is the play that just won us a title. And in Oklahoma.
And they kept me on the phone for about an hour and a half, and he never even brought up my game. So, you know, that was him. But, you know, for me to know that I had a friend like that, that the drop of a dime anytime that I needed to ask for advice about something, he would always pick up the phone. But when he called you, it was mostly to talk about himself.
And Lamar got ready to break my record for touchdowns. He was talking to him back and forth. Man, I'm about to break your record. I'm about to break your record. I said, oh, come on, Lamar. Come on. I said, listen, there'll be a package at your door tomorrow to tell you everything I think. I sent Lamar a life-size cutout of me. I said, every time you question what a real receiver looks like, don't look in the mirror. Look at this, and you'll know. And he laughed. He did break my record, but we did have fun with it.
Grateful for Nick Wright's time. He's very busy. He's got a very popular television show. And what is he smiling about? Because what do you?
You're just always, the intros are always so kind, and then I leave the interview, you know, usually mad at you, and so it's just a nice emotional roller coaster. But thank you for having me on, Dan. Happy New Year. I just got some chocolates from you guys and a hammer. I literally just got it this morning. It was a New Year's present. It's January 14th, but I appreciate it all the same. Thank you.
Let's speed him up. I want to get as much sports stuff from him because it's going crazy out there, and he's the best going right now at Sports Opinion. Let's begin with the legacy of Aaron Rodgers. He has Tom Brady has won a playoff game more recently than Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, listen, I think that when you are one of the four most talented players in the history of your position and you end up, you know, around, I don't know, the 9th or 10th best player in the history of your position, it is a compliment to say you underachieved. And I think you saw during his final, what is likely his final game in the NFL, some of the stuff that made him not that guy in the biggest spots, where he was making it clear to the entire world mistakes were made, but they were not my mistakes, wearing his disgust on his face. And also, DK Metcalf drops a pass, so he ices him out of the game plan for a couple of hours. It's odd to be one of the 10 greatest players in the history of your sport at your position and still have underachieved, but I think that's what he did. Is that quick enough? Good.
Yes,
Bang, bang,
it's a good
you
start.
Want follow-ups?
It's a good start. No, I don't want. I want you to give me what you got, and I don't think I'm going to have very many follow-ups. But we want to bang through this as fast as we can here and give as much nutrients as we possibly can. So Mike Tomlin's career postseason record is 8-11, a .421 winning percentage. It's 23 out of 25 coaches with at least 15 playoff games. Since 2011, he's 3-10 in the playoffs, and he's lost to Tebow and Blake Bortles. Tomlin, give me what you got.
I would analogize it to if a bunch of people left your show and then you had a big coaching tree and then they all failed, and then it was people were like, "Sad, Le Batard, what's he doing?" When in reality it's a compliment. It's they only got that platform because of the high tide raising boats. I think Mike Tomlin got, and I don't, can you buy Emmys on eBay now? I think they got to the playoffs with less than playoff caliber teams because of Tomlin's inherent excellence at getting the most, juice from the squeeze. And then once the playoffs begun and you played actual good teams, they got clocked repeatedly. With that said, he's not blameless, because I do think over the last half decade, the priority shifted from winning Super Bowl 7 to guaranteeing you had the best chance to not be below 500. In 2019, at the tail end of Big Ben, he got hurt 3 games into the year. They're 0-3, and they trade a first-round pick for who? Miami's Minkah Fitzpatrick. That year, not only was Burrow and Herbert at the top of the draft, but Jordan...
We've lost your audio, Nick.
We've lost your audio.
Would never
there.
happen to me.
I blame Jeremy.
That couldn't be me. That has to be on your guys' end.
Okay, we like accountability.
Do you guys have me?
around
You're
here.
back
we do
now.
now.
We got you
just
back.
lost
Okay.
the last couple of sentences of what you said.
All right, very quickly, sorry, don't count this against my time. 2019, they trade away their first-round pick to add Minkah Fitzpatrick, even though Big Ben's out for the year, because they want to find a way to get to 8 wins. They do. They don't have a first-round pick when Burrow, Herbert at the top of the draft, Jordan Love at the tail end of round 1, a team that had a quarterback but looked ahead, Jalen Hurts at the beginning of round 2, a team that had just signed Carson Wentz, and then even this past year, when you sign a 41-year-old quarterback, you know that's not a long-term plan. Fine, so be it. But in the first round, and I'm not a huge Jackson Dart or Tyler Shutt guy, but they don't draft a quarterback there. Instead, they draft a D lineman. It felt like near the end, they were prioritizing high floor rather than high ceiling, and I think that got in his way. But I think he is a great, great head coach, and I also think he's likely going to be a colleague of mine at Fox. So welcome to the team, Mike.
You used the phrase "toward the end," and I've gathered from your commentary, although I haven't heard you say it plainly, that you think Lamar Jackson is toward the end. That whatever it is that is going on with Lamar Jackson, we've seen his best play, and it's no longer prime Lamar Jackson that we're ever going to see again. Do I have you? Am I misrepresenting you?
You're not misrepresenting me. I don't. Toward the end is maybe further than I would go, but. Do I think Lamar Jackson's likely to ever reach the peaks he has already reached? No. Do I think that a Lamar Jackson, I know he has these gaudy passing numbers, and the numbers are the numbers, but do I believe, having watched the NFL, that some of Lamar Jackson's efficiency and excellence passing the ball is a byproduct of teams being so afraid, correctly, what he can do running the ball. And therefore, if moving forward, he's more like he was this year than in previous years, where he's simply not a real threat as a runner, he's going to see more complex, more difficult passing game looks, and that could hurt his productivity. You also add to the fact that he has missed at least a quarter of the season 3 of the last 5 years. You also add to the fact that he wants understandable, a top of market, brand new, fully guaranteed $60+ million a year deal. I think their best chance to win a Super Bowl was January of 2024, hosting the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Championship game, and they might have done it, but Justin Tucker demanded to get warmed up in Kelsey and Mahomes' practice area, and it's all been downhill from there.
Hey, Nick, this is a bit off subject, but I'm wondering how hard you're working behind the scenes to finagle an invitation to Travis and Taylor's wedding.
Not working behind the scenes on that at all. I would imagine our mutual friend, Adam Lefko, will be invited. I've always tried to be very clear about this. I am friendly with Travis. I love Travis as a football player, and I also think he's the greatest tight end ever. But Travis and I do not have the extent of our personal relationship is in the past we had an annual meeting in mid-February in Kansas City at a parade that was always held, and then we'd go get drunk afterwards. That's the extent of it. So I don't think I'm in the wedding party circle. Now, if Patrick were getting married, I think maybe I'd get invitation. But Patrick has been married for a long time, has a beautiful family, wonderful wife and children.
Put it on the poll, please. Best tight end ever, Kelsey or Gronk, at Le Batard Show. Explain to me what's going on with OKC and the Spurs.
Well, I think that it would have been a 5-alarm fire for OKC had they lost last night. They didn't, and Shea stabilized, and I think that is a unique matchup for OKC because OKC has a lot of inherent advantages over most of the excellent teams in the league, but one of them is because of their youth and their depth, they can just send wave after wave of excellent defender at you that's going to wear you down, and by midway through the third quarter, most teams are like, next game's probably going to be easier. Because of the Wemby-Chet rivalry that Wemby has created out of thin air, there can only be one super tall, skinny guy. They play with an edge, and they have the youth and the depth to where they are not going to wear down. I need to see Wemby play, 50 games-ish in a row to where I have confidence that they are a real contender. But that is the first tough matchup that OKC has. But I just remind everyone, 5 of the last 6 champions, midway through or early on in the year they were defending their title, everyone thought that team's obviously repeating. And not only did none repeat, none got back to the finals, none got back to the conference finals, and the only one that's even been back to a conference finals, forget the year after, at any point post-championship run is, of course, the championship we don't count LeBron James's in the 2020 Los Angeles Lakers.
We'll get to LeBron in a second, but what do you have for Nick Wright, Zaz?
The Packers win or the Bears lose?
Okay, sorry, I didn't understand. Great question, Zaz. You had 6 words, you stumbled over 2 of them, but I've translated it. The Packers lost. Caleb's sensational and special, but that is an unfathomable loss for the Packers, and it's on a long list of really tough ones.
I thought that was the most improbable playoff loss ever given the time and situation. Obviously, the Patriots being down 28-3 in a Super Bowl is a bigger thing. But just to have Golden score his first touchdown of the season that way, to go up 11, to have the Bears in 4th and 9 late in that game, I really did think it was almost impossible to lose that game.
So I've never seen a game lost like that. So to go back a few years when everyone's golden boy, look at the arm talent. Justin Herbert had his first of what ended up being a trilogy of truly awful playoff games. And by the way, this is one where the first was the worst, meaning it was the least much of a meltdown for Herbert. All he did was blow a 27-0 lead and make 0 plays. Who knew the sequel, he'd throw more picks in a game than he did in his whole season. And in the trilogy one, he would simply just be like, I'm not throwing the ball, and score 3 points. But I'm remiss. In part of that comeback, the Jags had 4 second-half possessions, scored 4 touchdowns. The Jags had to be perfect every possession. The Bears were down 21-3, threw a pick, had a possession where they gained 2 yards and allowed a touchdown, and still came back. And the Packers never turned it over. The Packers had the ball 8 times after going up 21-3, never turned it over, and lost. I've never seen a comeback like that, and I don't think this is year over year sustainable. But as far as for the rest of this postseason, there is something to the fact that trailing by double digits with 5 minutes left this season, every team but the Bears has 3 wins and 159 losses. And the Bears, trailing by double digits with 5 minutes or left, have 3 wins and 3 losses. For everyone else in the sport, it's a 2% chance of victory. For the Bears, it's a 50-50 shot. They're the only team that can trail by 10 entering the fourth quarter this weekend and feel okay about it.
Who you got in the natty?
You guys. I'm going you guys. I had you guys over Ole Miss. There was I was very conflicted, and I actually said this on the TV show. I have personal relationships to Miami, most notably this show, but really Mike Ryan specifically, because I know he lives and dies with it. Le Batard, I think, used to care about the Canes, and then he was like, I'm a Big J journalist. I can't care about anything. And then he's like, wait, all the money is in doing Miami Heat rants, so maybe I should lean back into the fact that my football team's good. Did I get the timeline right? I'm not sure.
Yeah, you got it.
Regardless, so I was rooting, and a couple of the producers on our TV show are Miami grads, including the world's greatest social media producer, Gianna Sanchez, who really lives and dies with it. I also wanted Lane Kiffin to stick to him. I really liked the idea of Ole Miss. He leaves Ole Miss because you can't win a championship there, and then they win the championship. So in that game, I was conflicted, but I like your guys' chances. In this game, I'm not conflicted at all. I like Kurt Signetti and his amazing coaching job and his squad of super senior 27-year-olds. However, I like when the U is rolling. I like when Michael Irvin accidentally reveals he has washboard 8-pack abs. I like Ibis. I've never done cocaine, but I imagine I'd like that. So I'm going for the Canes.
Greg, what do you have for Nick Wright?
Hey, Nick, America is under threat of a Denver-Seattle Super Bowl. I wonder if you see a super team this year. Is there anybody in the NFL that's an extraordinary all-around team?
No, listen, the super team decided they'd, take the season off, sadly, and not make their 4th straight Super Bowl. I think Seattle's the best team. But when literally every single person involved in watching or covering the NFL, their biggest concern about your team is your quarterback going to melt in a big spot? It feels like that team's never going to be the consensus favorite. Denver, I give Denver credit. They won 14 games. I don't fully believe in them. I think Buffalo has the superhero. The Rams are the best team, but have had some odd, end of games losses, and that Panther game, they weren't actually all that impressive. But no, much like 2007, I've told this before, but I'll do it very quickly. 2007, Tom Brady takes the field trying to become the greatest single-season team ever. The 07 Patriots go for his 4th Super Bowl. They don't win that game. He tears his ACL in 2008. 2024-25, the exact same scenario for Patrick Mahomes. The 2008 postseason was a weird one. We got the 9-win Arizona Cardinals playing a Steelers team that nobody thought was really exceptional. I wonder if 2025 is going to be similar in its weirdness. With that said, my Super Bowl pick is not a weird one. It's Rams-Bills. It's the 2 best quarterbacks in the tournament.
Wow, you have Josh Allen going on the road and doing that.
Yeah.
That's a lot of faith in...
He's the best player in the tournament.
Agree.
And can I say something about that? You didn't even ask me. I want to say something.
Nor do you care whether I say yes or no. You can say something about that. You're going to say it. Yeah, go ahead.
This is not a shot at others as much as it is a compliment to myself. these folks that wanted to preemptively lower the stakes for Josh Allen in the wild card game as a way to either ingratiate themselves to the ball knowers or to make it clear that only a Neanderthal would think that an all-time great quarterback has pressure on him when he's in the wild card round in Jacksonville. They actually were doing Josh Allen a disservice. And those of us that said he has to find a way to win in this spot, even though the Jags are really good, we're doing him a service. You know why? Because the stakes were high. That 40-yard seed to Brandon Cooks trailing in the fourth quarter with 2 minutes left become an iconic moment in his career. If it doesn't matter if you win or lose, if it's like, well, we all know he's great, so who cares, then that play is meaningless. The fact that 3 postseasons in a row, Josh Allen had the ball in his hands down either 3 or 4 points in the final 5 minutes of the fourth quarter, and 2 years ago, didn't come through, team got 0 points. Last year, didn't come through, team got 17 yards. And this year, did come through, team got a touchdown, and it was such a fait accompli that the analysis was they should have stopped trying to score briefly to give Jacksonville less time. That's the way you become a legend, is doing legendary moments when the stakes are high. So I say all that to say this. You're welcome, Josh Allen, for the pressure. It is a privilege, and this is how you become an all-time great. Not because someone's like their run defense. I got to listen to my guy Dominique and others be like, have you seen the Bills' run defense? Guys, they've got the rushing champ, the best offensive line in football, and a top 5 pass defense. And, oh yeah, by the way, Josh Allen. They should be awesome.
I completely agree. I love watching him in these moments, too, because you know exactly what's coming. They're calling players. You got to keep it in his hands. And I think, I know you're a Chiefs guy, and maybe some of the knock will be, well, you had to wait till guys like Lamar and Burrow and Mahomes were out of the playoffs to do it. But the point was brought up on CBS that he actually is the reason a lot of those guys aren't in the postseason right now, because he beat them in the regular season in huge games in retrospect.
Well, so listen, I also think this whole the pressure's on Josh because that trio is out is bullshit. The pressure's on Josh because Mahomes is out. Joe Burrow, everyone acting like, oh man, got to take advantage of Joe Burrow not being in the playoffs. He's never in the playoffs. He's been in the playoffs twice ever. Like Joe, the story should be, wow, Joe Burrow's in the playoffs, not wow, Joe Burrow's not in the playoffs. And Lamar is the one, prior to the win against Jacksonville, Lamar's the one current starting quarterback in the league Josh had beaten in the playoffs, and he was 2-0 against him. Josh was not worried about the Ravens showing up to the playoffs, and the Bengals showing up to the playoffs is a surprise to everyone. It is an opportunity because why are we showing robots kicking people?
Why wouldn't we?
It is an opportunity.
It's in the nuts.
Because,
why wouldn't we do that? Why wouldn't we do that?
I don't even know what I'm watching. Oh, the robot has to do what the guy does.
He's controlling the robot.
How did he get it right away? I was so confused.
It's a bad
and then the robot mimics his reaction to getting kicked.
I'm sorry the video team interrupted you with their nonsense. You were saying.
No, I'm just saying, there will be no... I also thought that CBS broadcast, I thought when they're like, now don't you go say... You're good, buddy. You're my guy. Don't you go say that there's an asterisk on this because the Chiefs... Nobody puts an asterisk on championships unless LeBron wins them. We all know that. There is no NFL champion asterisk since the strike season, and I don't even know if that's an asterisk, because if I asked this Emmy-winning crew when were the strike seasons in the NFL, they're going to go 0 for 100. And so, when was it? When was it, Taché?
This is not an Emmy-winning crew. I'm an Emmy-winning crew.
Okay, when was it? When was the strike season?
The last 3 years for me.
Okay. Well done.
He's the host of FS1's First Things First. He's got to get out of here. And What's Right with Nick Wright, the podcast. Thank you, sir. Appreciate the arrogance.
Hold on.
As
Just,
always.
90 seconds. I know I have a hard out, but you said we were going to get to something we didn't get to. Throw Mike Ryan on the mic. No pun intended. Hey, Mike Ryan. LeBron James, all-star at 50?
No.
Have you seen him since he let that streak go?
He's been really
Maybe
good,
Zaz was on to something.
He's been
the
really
streak
good.
was holding him down.
Yep.
Since then, he's been a top 10 player in the league.
Mm-hmm.
See you guys.
What's going on there?
He's got the heart out. He tells me he's got the heart out. We try and get him out in the heart out, and then he yells
I
at
got
me.
to get a
about-
Braun taken. Hey, I got a heart out, but I got the guy had 31, 10, and 9 last night.
Nice little role
Since
player.
he turned 41, he's been great. You guys out here
Robin.
slandering his name.
Robin.
Mike thinks it's the worst take that you've ever had.
He's not going to be an all-star at 50, dude.
Okay, well, here's the thing. It will, much like the last time I was on this show, or the second to last time, there is a real tough argument strategy of trying to prove hypotheticals incorrect. I think we can check the archives to see
Yep,
how that goes
you
for
can.
others.
Notre Dame should be champs. I've learned.
If LeBron is an all-star every game of his career, I guess we'll never know if he'd be an all-star.
We have to wrap.
5, 4, see you guys.
All right, see you later. See you later, Nick. Now, he is a bit of a content machine, so he's allowed us. There are a number of things that I want to get to that he spoke about, but I first want to go to Greg Cody and how poorly, at this point in his career, he wants to do the things that we have asked him to do. Now, this is an incredibly poor recreation of the Don Bailey Jr. famous, iconic billboard that I believe, outside of the Coppertone ad, is the second most famous billboard in the history.
Yeah, there you go.
So this is what we're trying to recreate.
Look at those abs.
And this is what we have. Let's take my dad now.
He's not even on a carpet.
No, I don't know what you're
genuinely had no idea what Greg was trying to do.
Greg, you're supposed to be on a carpet and you're supposed to be a little bit looking nude. You just look like you're in
Why
repose.
has he got a blanket?
Like, what are you doing? You got shoes
He might
on.
be nude under that. That's what I think
no,
we're going
but you
for.
got shoes on. You didn't recreate
The waist down.
Keep the shoes on a rug. I don't know what he's doing.
We don't know what you're doing, Greg.
We're advertising a flooring company.
On a couch.
Cody Flooring. We sell retrograde flooring, mostly linoleum and Chattahoochee.
Greg,
You saved it with Chattahoochee.
You're on.
Yes.
Well,
Linoleum is a tough word.
It's
Don't you
also
try it,
funnier.
Dan. I'll stop you.
Thank you. You're supposed to be on the carpet, though. You're supposed to be selling.
I'm on a carpet.
Talking to the mic.
Even there, he does it. All right.
I'm on a carpet.
Greg, can you do
We
this?
went back to it.
Can you do this a little better, please? I'd like to go to you at the end of the segment and have the recreation be a little better than this, if you don't mind.
Get nude.
And,
What if I do mind?
Well,
Gotcha.
If you want Kane stock, I'll be on Kane's Insight. Dan.
all right. Well, speaking of which, thank you. So there's
We're
a
talking
number.
to Josh Pate and Brooks Austin. I believe we'll go live at 1:45.
Mike started his.
Yatu Sabe.
That was a joke you were supposed to make 20 minutes ago.
Yatu Sabe.
It's supposed to be in the tone of that kind of thing.
Yatu Sabe.
I'm saying you know it.
And
Oh, is
you
it?
know it.
I thought it was that kind of thing.
Oh, whatever.
You guys are really ruining this whole week for me. Sorry, Mike.
Oh, sorry, we haven't done enough UM.
We haven't.
All right. Slow everything down for just a second. Josh Allen has the most playoff wins, 8, without a Super Bowl appearance in NFL history.
That's amazing.
Yes, that is amazing. That's why I said it. I would also please execute for me by the end of this segment. I'd like to go to the visual of Greg doing that a little bit better than he just
He doesn't
did
want
it.
to.
I got it, and I don't care.
How about you do it, Le Batard?
Not a bad idea, actually.
Might actually
You know
be.
what? Not a bad idea. Let's start the next segment. You know what? I'll allow you to boss me around here, okay?
Thank you.
And I will show you.
You love a costume.
No, it's not a costume. I'm going to be nude. And that you would think that would be embarrassing to me, and it will be. But I will do it in the name of leadership to show Greg Cody how it is to help the show, because the show should come first, not Greg Cody. He doesn't understand that. He thinks Greg Cody should always come first.
Damn right.
So Mike posted this on Threads, okay? Mike Ryan is going to do, I hope Mike Ryan is doing hours and hours of Kane's exclusive content on his platform with D-Money and an assortment of others. Tell people, Mike, where it is that if they want more Kane stuff, if there's not enough Kane stuff here, you have said here on the show this week, and it's early, you've said bleep Billy Corbin. You've said that this show is not viewed as pro-Miami. You've said you're not emotional. This is what you posted on Threads.
I didn't think anybody would see it because it was on Threads.
That's immediate defensiveness right there from Mike because
This was like about 4 TSLs deep.
All right, so this is the quote that Mike Ryan, who says he's not emotional, this is what he put on Threads. Didn't think anyone would see it on the public platform of Threads.
It's Threads.
Quote, "You haven't been tested. Our minds, bodies, and spirits have been in hell since Halloween. You're walking into an asylum. The same folks picking you have been pouring dirt on our grave for 2.5 months. We're still standing. We're forged in fire and been fighting for our lives longer than you've mattered. See you in a week. Spot the goddamn ball."
All right, I stand by it. Wasn't as drunk sounding as I feared.
You're threatening Indiana.
That's right.
You're telling them spot the ball.
Spot the ball, please.
Inspirational.
Spot the ball, please. I think it's being discounted how Miami's had to fight for its life, has had to fight to prove that they deserve to be in this tournament, and they've been living on that edge and playing with that edge for damn near half a football season. I think it matters. And you want to play against an Alabama team that didn't really belong being there, that lost FSU, and a lame duck Oregon coaching staff that internally is probably pretty mad at the coaches that are leaving because that game plan was shit. Let's go to Miami Gardens and spot the goddamn ball.
So in the name of game analysis, and there are a couple of other things that I want to get to here, this is a bit of an oversimplification, but not exactly, okay? I actually think the hardest games Miami had, and this seems asinine given that they were a 9.5-point favorite against Ohio State, but because of playing style and circumstance and playing on the road, I actually think that Texas A&M and Ole Miss were more difficult games in terms of style matchups than Ohio State because Ohio State was going to try and out-physical Miami, and I don't believe Miami can be out-physical. Now, Miami did play its best game of the season against Ohio State. It's what was required, and it's what they summoned. The game they played against Ole Miss after that was a letdown game. They played really, really poorly against Ole Miss. But the only way they lose against Indiana is with turnovers. If they play the game they play against Ohio State, they will drag Indiana. If they play, now it was their best game of the season, but it's what I'm measuring them against. I'm expecting their best game. And admittedly, that's a dangerous thing to expect when Mario Cristobal is your coach reputationally. Reputationally, expecting Mario Cristobal's team to play the best game in the biggest moment that doesn't have any of the undisciplined sloppiness in it.
What are you talking
No,
about?
you know that's the
reputationally, Mike.
Reputation. What? Yeah, but you're the ones making the reputation.
I'm not
Reputationally,
making the
Miami
reputation,
always
Mike.
gets up for the big games. Always.
Mike, Cristobal.
Mario Cristobal teams always get up for the big games. What are you talking about?
Mike.
What is the big game?
Mike.
No. Dan.
No.
Reputationally, don't talk to me about something that's made up. What are the big games that Mario... I am mad now. What are the big...
You're
name
mad
them.
now.
Name them.
Mike.
What are the big games that a Mario Cristobal team has not shown up for? I am waiting.
Okay, now...
I am waiting.
Okay, all right, Mike.
I am waiting.
Quit being an asshole.
I am
for
waiting.
5
No.
seconds.
Quit being... Are you calling me an asshole because I'm calling you out on your bullshit? Answer the question and spot the goddamn ball. Name a game. Name a big game that a Mario Cristobal team has not
murdering
shown
the
up
show
for.
with their bare hands and a
No.
dismemberment kit
You
in
don't
cold
just
blood.
make it louder. This is bullshit. You can just lie on the microphone. He's had 2 months of big games, and the team has shown up. And you're talking to me about a reputation? Guess who's making the reputation up? Dan Le Batard. Tell me the big game that a Mario Cristobal coach team has not shown up for since he's been at Miami. I double dog dare you.
Leave.
Out of there.
Leave because I'm not going to be interrupted again, so just leave.
Childish.
It is a good
Disgrace.
rhetorical trick
Aren't
that
you
he's
supposed
doing.
to be naked? Because you already showed your ass.
It's a good rhetorical trick, right? Because it's like until this year, they didn't earn their way into any big games.
So, just by the standards of this show that has evidently made Mario Cristobal's reputation, Jonathan Zaslow proclaimed before a game this season that the Hurricanes were back, the expectations were back, that everything was fixed, and there would only be disappointment if they did not go undefeated. They lost their next big game against Louisville. It was the next game that they lost after Zaslow said this. Syracuse and Georgia Tech at the end of last season were big games for the conference championship.
Right, that's what I would point at.
And so they haven't played in that many big games. They beat Ohio State in the big game that they played.
Notre Dame to start the season.
And Notre Dame and Texas A&M recently. He has helped erase some of the reputation that he had that I did not give him. I was not the one who gave him that reputation. That's not me doing that. That's me being anti-Miami, according to him, who posts on Threads this morning expecting no one to see it. Spot the goddamn ball. Bleep Billy Corbin.
What did he say about the minds, bodies, and spirits?
Yeah, well, I'll read it again because he says he's not emotional.
I mean, the reputation comes from before he got to Miami. He didn't get that reputation at Miami.
And then Georgia Tech.
He hasn't actually played in that many big games. But he had before. Man, Trista was here before the playoffs started and simply shrugging her shoulders and saying, Cristobal always loses here. This is not something he's going to win.
One of the worst takes in the last few weeks.
So, quote from Threads this morning, you haven't been tested. He's speaking directly to Indiana. Or maybe he's speaking to Signetti or all the...
I think he's talking to defensive coordinator from Indiana.
I think he's talking to all the Indiana players who are older than Mike. You haven't been tested. Our minds and bodies and spirits have been in hell since Halloween. You're walking into an asylum. The same folks picking you have been pouring dirt on our grave for 2.5 months. We're still standing. We're forged in fire and have been fighting for our lives longer than you've mattered. See you in a week. Spot the goddamn
You get
ball.
Ray Lewis to read that, and I get goosebumps. Like, I'm not going to, I know maybe coming from Mike's Threads, that doesn't mean anything.
That he didn't want seen by anybody.
But, man,
that's
hell,
a good idea.
Hell since Halloween.
Who can we
There's
get to
something
read
there.
that?
Well, Edrin James would have been good.
Oh.
Let's just invite Canes here and see who will read it. Just hurry up and invite some. Hurry up and get me any Cane right now to read that, and we'll see if we can do it better than Mike. We'll see how long it'll take us to get a Cane.
It's like the lineup in Usual Suspects where they have to read what the witness said. Like they all try it. We see who sounds the best.
And just going back for a second, Dan, just some clarification that I'm looking for so that I can make sure our HR people know. We have watched one of our employees get changed, and you are telling an employee to get naked, but if he doesn't get naked, you're going to get naked in
Yeah,
front of
I'll
everyone?
lead the way on this. I'll have to lead the way.
Just wanted to make sure.
Greg, you can come on in here because you didn't do what we asked you to out there, so you can come right back in here if you want. Now you're even less useful
old ankles.
visually than you were before. Do you have anything for us here? What did you think about this exchange between me and Mike Ryan?
I tended to agree with Mike, if I'm being perfectly honest. I think Mario gets a bad continuing rap based on the end of the Georgia Tech game 2 years ago. I don't know what we're focusing on. All that matters is that the Canes have played must-win games for about the last couple of months and won all of them. And I think the then controversial CFP decision to put Miami in over Notre Dame has absolutely been justified with neon flashing.
I don't think it's in dispute that Cristobal gets a bad rap, but that is the reputation. It might be a bad rap, but that is the reputation.
You're the ones making it up. Like, he historically, unless it's Kyle Whittingham, and sure, I heard someone make Syracuse a big game. That I guess that tracks. Georgia Tech wasn't. It was just a loss. But he went to Columbus with Oregon in big-time matchups against marquee opponents. When people say that team has more talent than you, Miami teams show up. Even if they fall short, Miami teams show up. They don't get played off. The last time this team lost a game by more than 7 points was 2023. What has he done to earn this reputation? Because I'm looking at the pro column of the wins and the games that his team show up in. He just won a Fiesta Bowl in which you could actually accuse his team of coming out sloppy and flat. He wins these games, and if he doesn't win the games, he plays within the margins, and it's a close 1 or 2 possession game at the very end. What is this reputation? Do we follow the sport? Is ESPN doing this? Is this a PTI Mike Wilbon special?
Yes.
What is the reputation? It's just not rooted in fact. It's not. It's baseless. If anything, his reputation should be the opposite of what is being said.
I think that because you are protective of the program, you are not hearing, surprisingly to me, that Mario Cristobal's coaching has been questioned at every point except until the last 3 games. It's been consistently questioned until the last 3 games. And it's not me doing it, Mike. It's me hearing it everywhere. Like, I said reputationally, purposefully there, thinking it might soften you some. How'd that go for me?
Look, it used to be that you had to go undefeated to make it to the college football playoff, like in the ACC. And so when each of the last few years, you and everyone else around the program have been saying, look at this Miami team, they're more talented than everybody around them. Look at the recruiting, look at the recruiting, look at the recruiting.
So did we!
When you then don't go undefeated and you lose games to teams like Syracuse, when you had an opportunity to potentially make the playoff or even your own conference championship game, that is something that could be considered not showing up for big games. They've won the last several in a row against great teams.
Right, and like if you want to say Mario Cristobal will occasionally lose the dumb one, I agree. If you want to still poke holes in his game day management, sure. But the reputation of a Mario Cristobal coach team at Miami not showing up for a big game against a marquee opponent, that is not just, wait, let me give you some other evidence. It is flatly, objectively false, and his reputation should be this team always shows up for the big ones.
You would say
that's why I took such offense, because it's not just not the truth. It is the exact opposite of what is the truth. It is ignorant to say that.
What's funny about what you're saying there, and they did win the last one, but good Lord, if they'd lost the last one, like if it's a pass interference at the end and they lose, he'd have that reputation right now. Right now, if they'd lost that one.
Yeah.
The game has changed. Weed is legal now with Stugotz and Greg Cody.
I'll tell a story if it makes you feel better.
Yeah.
When I first took the first edible I ever took was in New York, and at the time I was breaking the law. Okay, so now you can feel good about telling your story. And the guy told me, "Hey, just eat half of this."
Mm.
And so I ate half, and I waited, and I waited, and I waited, and I didn't feel anything. And he begged me just to eat half. And he did say on the front end it might take a while. But I was impatient.
Right.
Because when you smoke marijuana, you get instant gratification. And waiting an hour or two for something to kick in was not something I was familiar with.
Right.
So I ate another half, which became a full cookie. And 60 minutes later, I don't remember anything. I woke up the next morning on the floor in my wife's uncle's apartment because Abby had to throw me into a cab with her, and she took me home. And I was curled up in the fetal position, and I don't remember a thing after the second half of that cookie.
Wow.
This was last Wednesday. So, with that being said, feel free to share your story of you having 4 cookies in Colorado.
Yeah, I wolfed them down. It was 3 or 4. I didn't know
3
how.
or 4?
Yeah,
You don't ask?
Down.
You don't
Well,
say, hey, person I'm purchasing this from, how fast should I do these?
The guy at the thing, and it was one of those official things where they dress like pharmacists in there, and they sold me a vial of edible cookies, and it was in Colorado, so it's 100% legal. And my wife and I are getting ready to go to dinner. We popped open the thing. She had a nibble of one, and I ate, I think, probably 2 or 3, and it hit me by the time we got to that restaurant.
I just love how terrified you are of this conversation. You keep throwing in there like it's perfectly legal what I did.
To be fair to Greg, this has not exactly been, the most up and up thing to talk about for 60 years of his life.
Right, exactly.
This is a fairly recent phenomenon. We just go, oh yeah, everything's fine now.
No, and I don't, we did that because we were vacationing in Colorado, and I wanted to
Stop giving qualifiers.
I have to give a
Greg,
qualifier.
Greg, more qualifiers.
It feels better when you're doing it legally. It
Right,
does.
I'm gonna.
understand.
I don't smoke anymore. I mean, I don't do that. I did in
Totally
college.
lying, trying to make them feel better.
Thank you. Thanks for that.
Getting away with it was much more fun. I mean, seriously.
I had my day doing that. So
We used to get dime bags at a place in Hillside, Queens. It was called the Tie Door. Oh, was it fantastic? You never saw the guy. You just saw his hand. You would see his
Like
hand.
a first touch in a marriage?
Yeah, you would open up this little sliding door in Hillside, Queens. You would see his hand. He would see your hand. You'd never see each other. He'd put weed in your hand. You would put money in his hand, and that was it. That was a transaction. It was great. Called the Tie Door.
Weed first, then money?
Money first.
Oh, there
well,
you go.
it was like you would do it at the same time, but occasionally.
So you'd see both hands.
Yes, correct.
Once every 6 months, you'd hear stories of like some guy sticking his hand and then getting arrested on the spot. The cuffs right on the wrist. That's all you see, the wrist, and then.
I always wondered, is today going to be the day? Because I went every day. And it wasn't far from my house. But is today the day that it's going to be a cop on the other side of that door? I did. I feared that every single day. But it didn't stop me from going out there every single day. Hop, skip, and a jump.
Is that fear worth it?
Yes. The fear is what made it. Greg's right. Now you walk in, they're dressed like they're experts,
Right.
pharmacists.
Yeah.
It made me a little nervous. More nervous than meeting a guy at a tie door, never seeing him, just exchanging things in our hands.
That's right.
What happened to you after eating 3 or 4? Like, can you?
Back to you.
Yeah.
We went to a restaurant and, spent $300 on appetizers. And
Hell yeah.
And I remember, I'm not a fast talker. If anything, I'm a slow, deliberate talker who says a lot of ums and ahs.
Right.
My wife at that restaurant accused me of speed talking, of talking faster than I ever had in my entire life, which I wasn't even conscious of. So yeah, it hit me very hard.
All right.
Enjoyable though. I have no idea what I ordered for my main course.
3 or 4, though, man.
Yeah.
Are you sure you didn't do cocaine?
No, they were edible.
I've never had
cookies.
someone really high and be like, "This, you shut up, dude."
I know. Believe me, that was new to me too. Because normally you're talking like a 1970s, rock DJ.
Or is it possible that life had slowed down so much for your wife that by
It seemed like you were
you were
Right.
talking normally, but to her you were talking at an incredibly fast rate of
Could be.
speed?
That's possible. That's a possibility.
Oh,
That's a
my
good point.
God.
Did the waiter walk up and you're like, "I ate edibles," because you're just like terrified?
No. Believe me.
It's legal here. I'm on vacation.
Believe me, I'm sure he sensed it. Working in that state and seeing somebody in that state, I'm sure he sensed something.
How much was the bill that night?
Oh, gosh. I think we ordered a nice bottle of wine, which always jacks it up. So I think it was like a $400 bill.
You were hammered.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
4 cookies and a
Yeah.
bottle of wine.
Oh, my gosh.
Probably like
Jesus
7
Christ.
Miller Lights.
Right. Exactly. And that was at the restaurant. But seriously, no, it was a nice time.
I love.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
The show is moving a little too fast. The week is moving a little too fast, building up the entire week until next Monday. It is a company holiday. It is a holiday around the country. But we're working 2 shows that day because we're going to be doing a live stream of the national championship game. My friends feel bad for me, the friends who are going to the game, the friends who understand that I can't go to the game. Mike Ryan is, I'm assuming, going to the game. The tickets are really hard to get. They're crazy, crazy expensive. I have never been solicited this way by people that I haven't heard from in 20 years because of what this game is. We haven't gotten to the Giannis stuff yet. Giannis was booing his own fans. That seems like something that Miami Heat fans would be interested in. I will be, before the end of the show, nude recreating the Don Bailey Sr. carpet pose at some point. I'm telling you guys. Thank you, Zaslow.
Maybe for the Columbus hit?
Thank you for the support. We are getting into Columbus? Are we getting into Columbus?
Tony
You're
is,
confident?
like he said earlier, Tony is telling us for hour 2 he's going to be somewhere. I don't know where that will end up, but we're hoping to go to Tony in hour 2.
He was locked in, but then the last segment happened.
The Bucks lost to the Kings at home this year, 2 losses to the Wizards, a 39-point loss to the Nets. They lost to the Nuggets, who were missing 4 starters. They've got a 33-point loss at home to the Wolves without Edwards and Gobert. Like, it's disintegrated there. He's available. He's booing his own fans. Giannis is available. It seems obvious.
It's an interesting strategy from Giannis.
I mean, just make it messy.
But he won't.
But he just did. He just did.
He
just did.
Saying out loud, no matter what, I won't ask for a trade. I won't ask for a trade. I won't ask for a trade. That's messy. He claims that it's just because of the way that throughout the year on the road, this is what he does. When he's getting booed on the road, he'll flex and he'll boo the opposing crowd.
But he knows the difference between home and away, right?
Yes, and it's a bit of a reflex. But
Big difference.
The biggest difference is that this was clearly like a premeditated feeling, because the booing happened as they went in for the half and they were down 30 plus. And this happened on the first bucket of the second half. This is not like, oh, it was much later in the game or it was in the flow of the game. This is the first opportunity that he had to do something like this.
Does he think it's inappropriate for the fan to boo the home team that's down by 30 to the Kings?
Well, he reacted to it after the game.
Like an inappropriate thing for the fans to be upset about?
Look, they had a really poor showing, and they continue to struggle amidst a moment like this.
Wouldn't the Kings trailing? Wouldn't the Bucks trailing the Kings at home by 30 be like one of the top reasons to boo if you're a fan?
Well, it was the Timberwolves, but it would be against the Kings too.
Okay, Timberwolves. Sorry.
But it's the Timberwolves without Edwards and Gobert.
Right.
Good correction,
That's what
Jeremy. Just useless correction. So
some would say that team without Gobert and Edwards is the Kings.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
The things that I need to get
Strong
to.
week.
We need to keep this moving. Emmy winner Jeremy. He put the Emmy in Jeremy. Is gaining confidence around here. He called Zaz a dumbass earlier. That seemed out of character.
That was wild.
A lot of names have been thrown around today.
Cody, again, it's Wednesday. Please find me a hurricane that will read what Mike Ryan. Just find me one. Get one in studio. I want one in studio before the end of the show. A hurricane of some repute to read this quote to threaten Indiana from Mike Ryan. But in front of Greg Cody, he has fished something out of his garage. I believe they are the Dead Sea Scrolls. I'm looking at them right now, and I don't know what this is. Can we take some guesses on what this is? We've asked Greg Cody to go through his garage, to find in his garage just an assortment of things that haven't moved in 50 years, and he's got something. Zazzle, why don't you describe it to the audio audience?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like part of the set of the movie National Treasure. It looks like the thing Nicolas Cage is carrying around.
A manifesto, scrolls of some sort. Does anyone in the shipping container have any guesses as to what it is that Greg Cody has here that he is soon going to reveal for us?
Is that like my first school project when I was like 4 years old?
Is this a sports thing, Greg? Can you give us some hints? Is this a sports thing from your garage?
It is a sports thing. It's related to the Cody family legend, PFPI.
Is it the original column you wrote to trade Dan Marino?
That is framed on the wall next to Pat Riley over there. Roy, if you want to get that and hold that up for the people we have. Okay, Jeremy will do it.
This came about 20 years before that.
All right, so do you want to unspool it? We're not getting a lot of guesses here,
Yeah.
but it looks like it's poster sized. It's got a lot of stains on it. What are those stains? They look like coffee stains. What are those stains?
Those are the stains of time. It's been in a plastic tub for decades. I had forgotten all about it, and then you asked me to bring in some artifacts. I brought in 3. I brought in a 1967 Dolphins media guide. I brought in the first known photo of me when I think I was still a teenager on the job interviewing someone.
And you brought the Bill of Rights.
And then I refer to it as the Magna Carta, but we're on the same wavelength there.
The Bill of Wrongs. So go ahead and spread that out. I feel like I'm going to start coughing because of the amount of dust in
could
there.
be.
Because it looks dirty, looks old, and it really does look like something you would fish out of an Egyptian pyramid near a mummy that would be thousands of years old.
Yeah.
And it looks like a big, giant birth certificate. It is a certificate of appreciation. This presentation is made to Commissioner Gregory Paul Cody on this day, December 27th, 1971, in appreciation for a job well done while serving as Commissioner of Professional Football Predictions Incorporated. All members of the league wish to express their what's that word? Their profound?
Profound.
Oh, their profound
on,
thanks. Well, the cursive is bad.
They're writing in cursive.
Their profound thanks and gratitude for his diligence and performance of the duties of the office of commissioner. Signed, Dick's Rough Riders, Dad's Dynamics, and Greg's Lobos.
So you signed it for yourself.
You made that for yourself?
It was cursive back then. Hey, kids,
Talking to the
mic. This is what cursive looks like. No, I believe my brother did this. I did not make this.
I cannot
for
believe
myself.
Uncle Dick would do that.
Well, we'll ask
It
him.
seems like something you would write for
No,
yourself.
I didn't.
And then
You
have the
think I'm gonna
family sign
honor
it.
myself with an appreciation of.
You do it once a year. There's a time during the PFBI Gala where you go, now let's hear it for the commissioner, Greg Cody.
Well, I also floated the idea of a PFBI Hall of Fame, and that never got off the ground. But anyway, I hadn't seen this in decades, and I was thrilled that
the color on the writing is held up.
It has, yeah. But the paper itself, I think when I went through that rat phase, rats will eat anything. They'll eat cardboard. They'll eat cotton. They'll eat anything you put in front of them. And I think there may have been some rat involvement on that. I'm not sure.
I just saw playing dominoes in the other room a credentialed and famous Miami Hurricane, and they work quickly over there to get us people when we need them to read Mike Ryan quotes from threads that he didn't want read.
Heisman Trophy
4 TSLs deep.
That is too many
When I say
hints.
4, it was 8.
Too many hints. When you say former
When I say
Heisman
8, it
Trophy
was 12.
winner, that makes it 2 people, Greg.
Yeah.
I was trying to be cryptic to the audio audience so that it can.
Pretty obvious, though, no? Doesn't
Audio
everybody-
audience.
doesn't
The
everybody know?
audio audience,
Oh, yeah.
Greg.
No, I misspoke. It's not a
You know
Heisman
what?
Trophy.
You know what?
Misspoke.
You know what?
Yeah. I was just kidding.
Minor penalty, 2 minutes. Fork came out of your mouth.
Just get out of here, Greg, for 2 minutes. You've been on fire today. We'll get to the Heisman Trophy winner, Gino Toretta, in a second. Mike, print out that quote you didn't want anyone to see so that he can read it right next to you, please. Jessica's going to join us here in a little bit. But Zazzle, I've been remiss in not getting to this. LeBron James, this is interesting when he's going to fight his way out with the Lakers, and he's going to continue to try and change the paradigm in a number of different ways. Rich Paul is doing a podcast and has been doing a podcast here for a little while. And if you thought Max Kellerman was going to come back into this game quietly, he is not. So this is all very purposeful. Max Kellerman getting back in at the top of the media game is doing, he could have chosen anything. Max Kellerman really could have chosen anything. He chose to do this podcast with Rich Paul, who is interested in changing the way all of this is done. Rich Paul is an agent. Rich Paul, as the agent for LeBron, has an uncommon amount of power, and he's just sitting there on a podcast pissing off Laker management by doing things like this with Max Kellerman.
The Lakers have options. If I was the Lakers, I would probably be targeting the Memphis Grizzlies as a trade partner
for
Jaren Jackson.
Yeah, that'd be a great fit.
I would.
For whom?
Well, that's the thing. The package just goes out is what you have to decide. Because if you're able to trade out expirings and give up the last first-round pick you got. That could be one scenario, right? Or you can say, let me withhold that, but this comes with
Austin Reeves.
This comes with a very unemotional attachment because Austin is beloved, which he should be.
But he's about to get
he's
paid.
He's an underdog. And here's the thing. If there's a world where you can do what's best for your team and do what's best for Austin, because Austin deserves to get paid.
That is fairly uncommon, what we just witnessed there. And LeBron is flexing through his agent, but LeBron is distancing himself from all of that by saying, oh, no, Rich Paul's his own man, his own man, his own man. Fascinating to me, all of it, because if the Lakers think they're bigger than LeBron James, and I understand why they would, the last 15 years have emboldened LeBron James to do things the way that he wants, and he's got out here a mouthpiece for him who is his own man, but is developing his own media persona and is going out on what an interesting choice for Rich Paul to be able to do this with anybody and for Max Kellerman to be able to do this with anybody, and they chose to do it with each other.
And for Rich Paul to do it, when we're in the peak of NBA trade season. We're a month away from the trade deadline. And so LeBron got asked about it last night, and LeBron's trying to distance himself from it. And like you said, Rich is his own man. I think I hope people know that, and if they're not sensible to that, then I don't know what to tell them. I think it lacks a little bit of self-awareness there, where LeBron seems he doesn't understand why anyone would try and connect the dots there, that the most powerful agent in the game, who's the most powerful agent in the game because he represents LeBron James, is trading players to and from LeBron's current team, and people are thinking, wow, I wonder if that's passive-aggressive LeBron, who's kind of putting the words in Rich Paul's mouth there. So there's a little bit of a lack of self-awareness there, but I also don't understand, that's a move from Rich Paul, where he's getting up there and trading someone else's clients. And by the way,
well, Max Kellerman's the one who inserted the name by name Austin Reeves there. That's not something that's not what Rich said, but then he followed him down the path.
And Austin Reeves' agent confronted Rich Paul last night at the game. They apparently had a conversation courtside for a few minutes. I mean, you don't want another agent, the biggest agent, trading your client. It's kind of inappropriate.
I want to get back to this, but we have royalty in the house, and at the risk of making things awkward, as I always do, Mike, would you like to hold Gino Toretta right now? Because I really do feel like
that didn't take long.
Danny got mad at me because I said Warren Moon when I saw his jersey.
Said, nice
he goes,
Warren
no,
Moon
that's
jersey.
Cam Ward. I'm like, I just showed my age. It's Warren Moon, and that's an Oilers jersey, right?
It does look like old Oilers.
Yeah.
I've seen Gino once in the last, I don't know how many years. It's been a long time, but it was in an airport, and it was basically just the both of us going, Cam Ward, huh?
LAX.
Cam Ward's pretty good, huh? At the position. He didn't win a Heisman, but you did, Gino. You did. Where is that Heisman right now?
It is on the bookcase at home.
Weird. You don't bring your trophies with you to work. That's strange.
No.
What a highly conventional place for it.
They're a little heavy. This one's a little heavy and large.
Do we want to give Gino the telestrator?
Well, I want to give him the telestrator, and I want to give him the Mike Ryan speech to make. And is he willing to do this? I haven't prepped him for any of this, and I haven't seen him for a while, so I don't know how playful he wants to be with this.
The only time I get invites on this show is when Dan wasn't in, and Stugotz would invite me.
Yeah.
Whoa!
I don't know who that is, Gino.
I don't know why, Mike. We got ties.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you. You're a Heisman Trophy winner and a legend. You don't have to do what Dan's going to ask you to do right now.
All right. I just learned how to play dominoes. First time's a charm.
Let me preface this by saying this was about 12 tequila soda limes deep.
This is a tweet from Mike Ryan, the guy wearing.
It wasn't a tweet. It was a thread,
because he was hiding from the nation.
So we need this to be more intimidating than the way Mike Ryan did it, where he's basically threatening Indiana, but it's a mild threat, and we don't think that coming from him it's as strong as it would be coming from a voice, sound, face of college football and the Hurricanes. And I don't think it's too dangerous for you to say. So, Chris, can you give Gino Toretta some music here of some sort?
And I'm just reading this?
Yeah, but you've got to go summon
with
your
passion.
I'm going voice.
All right. He's a broadcasting legend too, so Gino knows how to find.
But also the soul of Hurricane Fire.
Yeah, Ray Lewis is what we want.
Indiana's coming into town. they're playing a big game, Gino, in Miami. Miami doesn't lose the big games.
Miami Gardens, Dan.
In Miami.
Do you know how to summon the soul of hurricane fire, as Dan put it?
Sure.
Would you like to threaten?
All right, we got some music.
Yeah.
We ready?
Yeah.
You haven't been tested. Our minds, bodies, and spirits have been in hell since Halloween. You're walking into an asylum. The same folks picking you have been pouring dirt on our grave for 2.5 months or 20-some years. We're still standing. We're forged in fire, been fighting for our lives longer than you've mattered. See you in a week. Spot the goddamn ball.
That's what I'm talking about.
I'm ready. I'm ready. Let's go.
What I said, Dan?
Talking about.
Carries a lot more weight when it's a Heisman Trophy winner saying it.
Now do it with Mike holding you. Gino, how hard is it to get into that stadium and be around that game? You have some power, but I imagine you're getting inundated with people who think you could get them tickets.
Yes. Calls from people I haven't seen or heard from in 35 years.
That takes some balls to be that person.
Did you have any people do the thing where a week early they just do the
That's a good move.
Hey, check it in. How you been?
Good
just
move.
setting up for the week
No.
later where they're
No.
like, hey, we
Oh,
caught
no.
up last week.
Oh, no, I got it after the Fiesta Bowl. I think my first text was, let's see, I woke up in Phoenix. It was probably 5-something in the morning, and I got a text. And it was like, hey, do you know how we get tickets? And I'm like, no.
How is Stugotz doing?
What percentage of people, like if 1 to 100%, are you going to be able to actually get tickets, and how many are going to be disappointed?
0. I'm in the same boat. So basically, the alumni, we could put in a request for 2 tickets, and we have to use one of them. And they, I don't know how they're going to decide. We did that yesterday. Thursday, they're gonna tell us. I've been asked by Sirius to do some pregame, so I'm going to get a credential. But my wife wants to go to the game, so
I'm not saying no to Gino.
How do they decide which players? Gino, you got to be at the very top of the list.
I don't know. I mean, Sap's like, hey, I need a parking pass. I'm like, dude, they're $1,000 online. I don't know. I mean, the bad thing is I'm on the Orange Bowl committee, and normally I get to buy my same tickets that I have for the Orange Bowl for the championship game, but this year my 14 seats are corporate. So,
Mike Ryan, how many parking passes have you gotten? How many tickets have you gotten?
12.
See, but he's probably like a big booster and a donor and all that stuff.
I didn't win a Heisman, but
if I wear a 26 jersey, I think there's some guys on the sidelines. I don't know how they get down there the last few games. So,
as someone who really knows college football, still modern college football as well, can you separate your emotion from your analysis on this game? Like, what do you believe is going to happen? But answer my first question first. Can you separate your emotion from your analysis?
yes. I would say this. Emotionally, I'm rooting for Mendoza because he's a stud. He's a local kid. Met him in New York at the Heisman, and great story. And I can remember doing a game, Cal and USC, and they lost 50-49. And I remember Dan looking at my boards going, who the hell is this kid from Miami, and why isn't he at Miami? Because he was accurate as hell with the ball throwing, and he's gotten better from there. So I think, individually, I guess all of us kind of root for guys individually. Obviously, Miami, they have the talent, skill up front. They have mass on the offensive line. Little different than, when we were in school, it was all speed and using the skill guys on the outside. I think there are some guys on Miami's team that remind me of guys I played with. I think Fletcher's a guy just give me the damn ball. I'm not going to let us lose. I think Malachi's the same way. He's just been dynamic and unbelievable. Bain. I think as far as when you look at the matchup, Indiana may not have the superstar power, I guess, that we have outside of Mendoza, but they play arguably the best team football of anybody in college football. Now, the bad thing is everybody's blowing smoke up there, and saying they're the best team since the LSU, Joe Burrow
poison.
teams.
That's a rat poison.
Rat poison.
But if they win this game, Gino, they will be regarded as such. If they win this game, they will have to be considered one of the best teams of all time.
I think they will be considered to have one of the best seasons. LSU, you got to go back. I add in the fact of look at the picks on their team.
The pros.
I don't think that Indiana's going to have that type of draft day success. I would say if they won, Mendoza will have had the best, by far, playoff bowl performance of anybody in the history of college football. I think that what he's done, he's gotten better every week. It's amazing the accuracy he has, the precision he has, and nobody's been able to get him off platform. Even when Ohio State lit him up in the first play, even the first series last game, they didn't look great. He makes adjustments, and he's been pretty impressive.
Well, I agree. They certainly don't have the talent and the NFL draft talent that LSU team did. I think people do this thing where they see the 8 blue chippers, the 5 and 4 stars, and they say, wow, this team is really maximizing on their talent. They're plenty talented. I think when it's all said and done, they probably have 4 first-rounders on that offense when you have Mendoza, the center, Surratt, and I know that Charlie Becker is not eligible for the draft, but he's looking like a player. I think he's PFF's highest-rated wide receiver since Week 11. He's really come on. So they got a lot of talent on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, not Justin Jefferson, the guys that are like the best in the NFL.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's all. That's all.
Fair enough.
What's impressive when you watch their defense, they are sound in their assignments. Like, they don't miss gaps. They don't let somebody cut back and just gash them.
Everyone's had a 50-pound advantage on their defensive line. Like, everyone has that advantage.
I mean, they lost arguably their best rusher.
Yeah.
To a freak knee injury after the Big Ten championship game, and they have just not missed a beat. So, yeah, it's been impressive. They're sound. They don't beat themselves, and at some point in time, everybody's like, get to the quarterback. Hell, yeah, get to the quarterback. A little easier said than done, because it seems like Mendoza, if you rush him, he gets rid of it quick, or he's been athletic enough to make some plays.
Gino, I can't stop watching the Carson Beck touchdown. Can you take us what you were feeling with that play and all the emotion?
Well, one, I obviously I thought that it being there, I was like, man, does LSU or Ole Miss have the magic at the end, and we don't have enough time? And then we march down and get in that range. I just remember watching the play, and I mean, obviously we're trying to throw to Malachi. He gets doubled, and Carson looks right. And I watched the D tackle for Ole Miss fall down, and he's just gassed. I mean, the guy can't even get up at that point.
People were upset at him. People like Ole Miss fans, he quit. People were upset.
How many plays had he played at that point in time? I mean, guys got no gas at that point. And when he turned back around, he didn't even run. And I go, touchdown. And my buddy in the box goes, what do you mean touchdown? I go, there's nobody over there. All he's got to do is at 55, I could run for a touchdown at that point in time. But
that's a visual manifestation of a team getting worn down, though. That's what Miami's offensive line will do to you. It'll make you stay on the ground.
They're enormous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I still work out at the Wellness Center on campus. You see that Markel Bell, and it's just like, if you walk next to him, it's like a shadow.
The weird part about that is Miami's never had the great offensive lineman. I know McKinney was drafted high.
This guy's bigger than McKinney. That's why, Dan, his size, it's just like you look at these guys, you're like, he's enormous. And then they figured out, I don't know, the pile pushes are I don't know how they're legal in football, because I don't think they were when I played.
They shouldn't be.
But, man, they get kind of stopped, and it's just like, push the whole pile 8-12 yards.
I pop for that. I love it.
Gino, we'll get back to you in a second, but out there they're summoning you to Domino's because somebody, I think it was Robert, the IT guy, said he wanted to kick your Heisman ass.
Oh, wow.
We'll come back and get you.
Let me put it to you this way. I ended with the most, whatever you call them, cards. Yeah. I was saying this is like Uno. But my partner dropped them and we won. So
all right.
I don't know what that means.
Features. Go ahead and get out there. We'll come back to you because we've got Jessica coming in here. We'll come back to you in a second. We also have to go back out to Tony at Columbus. Also, I'm going to be nude later in the show, laying on the carpet.
What a show!
Yeah, and we got a lot going on. So Jessica's here, and I was fairly shocked to learn this. I feel like this was her man betraying her. But during the Steelers game, during a Steelers loss, this is not made up. It is not altered. This is Jessica has released this to the public. She had fallen asleep, and this was the sound that was coming out of her face.
You can hear Al Michaels in the background.
This is people are going to think that's altered, Jessica. What happened here?
Hi, Dan. It's nice to see you too. Thanks for setting it up that way. This was actually during the Bears game Saturday night, and the setup is I got really cozy and comfy in my jammies, and I thought there's no way the Bears are my Chicago Bears are gonna come back in this game. So I got a little cozy and I closed my eyes, and then the next morning Lehman showed me this on his phone.
It's fairly startling. Was it a betrayal? Did Lehman just betray you?
Yes. He said, "Are you in a good mood right now?" And I said, "Why would you ask me that?" He's like, "Are you capable of seeing something that may upset you?" And I said, "I mean, yeah, sure. What is it?" I thought it was going to be like something terrible about like a sports team that I follow. And instead he pulled up his voice recordings and played that for me. I still think it may have been the dog.
This sounds like some milligrams here. How many are we thinking? 10, 20?
It sounds like a lumberjack.
It does.
After just an exhausting day in the forest.
Yeah, I mean, it was a long set. I got a lot of fresh air on Saturday. What's a gal to do, Dan? I was sleepy. It was late. I belong in the central time zone. No one should be on the East Coast to watch primetime football games.
You do understand no one's going to believe that is actually you. They're going to think that we altered that.
Why not? I mean, it kind of fits my whole. I sneeze loud. I snore loud. I was with a baby yesterday, like a 6-week-old baby who was. She's having a tough time sleeping at night, Dan, and she finally fell asleep in her mother's arms, and then I had to sneeze really bad, and I let it rip, and I woke the baby up, and I felt so bad about it, but sometimes there's just nothing you can do.
A week ago, you were drinking fake alcohol on here, celebrating the Steelers, and now
who was drinking alcohol? Not me.
Tomlin has now been fired, or he's stepped down. Excuse me. How do you feel about this today?
Thank you. I think I have mixed feelings. I'm not celebrating that he stepped down, but I also think it kind of feels like it was time. Like 19 years is a really long time. It had been sort of the same story for the last few seasons where the team is, claws its way into the playoffs, and then I have to watch a brutally embarrassing wild card weekend playoff loss to Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes or the Houston Texans defense. And so I get why he would want to move on. It doesn't sound like a decision that he made after Monday night. It sounds like something he'd been thinking about for most of the season based off of Jeremy Fowler's reporting. So I kind of get it. It makes sense. And, I'm sad. I'm going to miss him. But, 20 years is a long time.
Jess, better chance for the Steelers next year. They're in the playoffs again, or they have the number 1 overall pick?
Probably the latter. If I had to guess, I think it's a tough spot for any new coach to come in because the quarterback situation is obviously very unsettled. I think the bright side for me is it sounds like Aaron Rodgers' return is extremely unlikely now, so that's great. Didn't want to run that one back next year, but yeah, I mean, if you look at the available jobs, like in your same division, you've got a job in Baltimore with a MVP caliber quarterback, and then you've got the Steelers who have a decent roster, but some flawed, expensive contracts on older players. But at the same time, like there's some nice younger players, like they've drafted well in the interior of the lines and have some nice younger players there. But with the quarterback situation being what it is, yeah, I think that's going to be tough for whoever takes that job.
Jess, what do you think Tomlin's legacy is? Because despite the relentless winning seasons, 1 Super Bowl win, a bad finish, I think it's fair to say, with the playoff win drought. What do you see his legacy in the bigger picture?
In the big picture, I think Hall of Fame head coach that won a Super Bowl in Pittsburgh, that had a record of winning, not losing seasons, winning seasons that but I don't think anyone's ever going to break, Greg, honestly. I think, like, if you look at the last few years, yeah, it's been disappointing, but it's still been better than a lot of other teams. And so you give him credit for what he's done with imperfect rosters and without a franchise quarterback. But over the span of 19 years, I think without a doubt, a Hall of Famer and one of the best to ever do it.
Dan, you think he's going to go Hall of Fame?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that up for dispute?
There's a lot of coaches who've won a Super Bowl that are
That's
not in the
even
Hall of Fame.
Questions as 100% he'll be a Hall of Famer.
Every coach who wins a Super Bowl is in the Hall of Fame?
100%
Well,
he's going
no
to
one
be.
said that. You're
It's not
changing
every
the argument.
coach. It's not every
That's a
coach.
straw
It's
man.
the one who has
don't
19 straight winning seasons and
Dan,
a
don't
Super
fall
Bowl.
for it. That's a straw man argument. No one said every coach that wins a Super Bowl makes the Hall of Fame, Zaz.
Straw man.
We're talking about one specific coach.
He's a really good coach. He's a really good coach.
Yeah, never had a losing season.
9-8. It's not that great. All right.
I mean, I agree with you. I think it's been imperfect the last.
The better
7
question to me is Antonio Brown a Hall of Famer? Because Antonio Brown's statistics, like, they're a good deal better than the wide receivers that you guys are talking about that have been snubbed. This isn't Torrey Holt. Antonio Brown was the best receiver in football for 5 straight seasons.
He might be a Hall of Famer, but they will not vote him in.
Okay, but I think it's
Is there
a better
character clause, or
I think it's a better question than is Mike Tomlin going to be a Hall of Famer? Because I think Mike Tomlin's is obvious, and there's nothing bad to put there. There's nothing bad to put next to Mike Tomlin's resume. Like, you could say no playoff victories, but winning seasons every year. She's talking about a record that's not going to be broken.
There's a little stigma about one Super Bowl, and I think it applies to Aaron Rodgers as well. And it may be unfair, but if you have a great career and win only one Super Bowl, that's a stigma.
Greg, do you think Aaron Rodgers should be in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, without question. No, I
so
do.
obviously there's exceptions then,
and
even though there may be a stigma to one Super Bowl.
And I think Tomlin will be in the Hall of Fame, but I don't think it's unfair to ask whether or not he will be. I don't know that it's just an absolute no-brainer.
She's got a weekly podcast, Notre Dame podcast, The Echoes, with Mike Golick Jr. Before this game that's being played, I don't know if you're going to be a part of our live stream on Monday. I hope so. It might be too late for you. You might be snoring. Do you have both a rooting interest and a thought on the way that game is going to go?
I don't really have a rooting. I've gone back and forth on this. I don't really have a rooting interest, Dan. My best friend Priya went to Indiana and has been following along on their postseason journey. So I'm probably going to be with her this weekend, and I'll probably have to cheer for Indiana. But like, I don't really have a dog in the fight. So I'm rooting for a good game.
How about your analysis as someone who loves college football and loves the minutia of breaking down games? What are your thoughts about Mendoza's precision against Miami's physical strength?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a better game than people are giving it credit for. I think that having the Oregon-Indiana game be so recent in people's minds, which was a total Dan Lanning disaster class, is kind of making people think that, like, oh man, Miami's got no shot. But I do think it's going to be a good battle in the trenches. I think Mendoza has obviously been really excellent. I think if Indiana plays their A+ game, they're probably going to win the game. But I think it's more of a game than maybe the spread is giving it credit for.
Thank you, Jazz.
Folks, listen up. DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 sportsbook for live betting, is turning up the stakes this NFL playoffs. Each Sunday, every DraftKings customer has a shot at over $2.5 million in prizes. Open the DraftKings Sportsbook app and opt in. Place a live bet of just $1 or more on Sunday's playoff games.
DraftKings.
There's 2 Krings.
And every live bet gives you another chance to win. The more you bet live, the more entries you stack all Sunday long. Download the DraftKings app right now and use code Dan. Bet live for your share of $2.5 million in prizes with code Dan. In partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours.
That guy's not winning an Emmy.